And we live once again. Quarantine log number 3. 1:08 in the morning. It is now Wednesday, my dudes. But then again, who's keeping track? Actually, I know I popped off on the last quarantine log, but actually today, the whole vibe of the day, along with the news of the world, seems a bit more calmer, I guess. I mean, given the nature of the situation. But ultimately, another day, another non-existent dollar because businesses just shut down. But before I recorded this, actually not too long ago, a couple hours ago, like the news broke that apparently the big babies over in Congress and the Senate have finally come to an agreement uh, for a $2 trillion relief plan. Billions of dollars are going to individuals, businesses, and anybody else who's suffering in these trying times, along with the medical field who is having a fucking field day having to treat all these people with the coronavirus. So, I mean, hey, hopefully that's a sign of the tides starting to turn. People are still out here self quarantined, trying to just pass on the time. I once again did my daily routine of waking the fuck up in the middle of the fucking day, close to 11 a.m. And actually, that's part of the reason why I'm pretty good at like I'm doing the whole fasting diet is because not because I like force myself to do it, but more just because my ass is waking up at what 11 a.m. in the fucking morning and shit like that. Because what the fuck I have to go about doing. But ultimately, yeah. So woke up today, had me a little PB&J sandwich to get something in my system before I worked out because working out on an empty stomach is never a good thing. I had that along with an Ensure. Killed another workout, although to be completely honest, today, for some reason, man, I was really straining on that workout. I think it was because I had a little bit of heavy clothes. I had a double shirt because I thought it was going to be another windy day. So I wore a nice little thin long sleeve underneath a cut t-shirt. And I think that started to take a toll on me because, man, I was fatigued as a motherfucker. But that also, I mean, part of that also has to do with the fact that I'm still starting to get back into a routine now. Once again, the weather is trying its best not to fuck me in terms of, raining and shit like that. So hopefully that's a good sign of me being able to get back on a constant routine of being able to work out. But yeah, man, today's fucking Wednesday now. Tuesday, just working out. I stepped outside and roamed the empty streets of South Central because I had to go drop something off to a friend of mine's real quick. It was kind of nice. I was able to take my skateboard, had my little medical mask on to make sure I don't breathe in the deadly toxins and whatnot. But yeah, man, like coronavirus once again, another boring day. Video games all day. Staying to that Call of Duty like a motherfucker. But I mean, because what else can you do? But I also have been thinking a lot about what I want to do during this quarantine time. And I kind of feel like I want to just break routine and like honestly go apply for one of these jobs at these essential locations. I mean, I know it's not the best of jobs, but I feel like I need to do something, man. I feel like just doing nothing all day just really just takes away your drive. And I feel like that's not a good thing to like start to build up because then what if we get out of this quarantine with like this just lazy mentality of, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. So later on today when I wake up after I go to sleep after this, because I actually had a friend of mine tell me like, how do you have so much energy at like 1 a.m? It's like, this is the last bit of energy I have for the day. And also I don't really use much of my energy throughout the day because you're just lazing around. Most of my energy is like basically put into this, video games, and my workout. So basically, this is the little last inch of energy I have in me before I need to go back into the sleeping pod and then recharge the Bell battery. So, yeah, so I'm going to try to look for, something at least for the moment, get some money in my pocket because, sometimes you got to do things by yourself, man. I know the fucking Senate just reached a $2 trillion deal, but at the end of the day, man, we can't always depend on government for everything. I still want to go out and try to get a little more money in my pocket, And who knows, maybe this would be a nice way to be able to, like, pay my bills, but also be able to save up so that way I can be ready for like the real job hunt because actually, before this whole coronavirus thing started, I got fucking laid off from work, because that's what you want to have at 23 years old, to be laid off from fucking work. But I don't want to talk too much smack about the job itself. They had to go. They went through some financial issues, and honestly, it was a decision they didn't want to make, but unfortunately, they did. And they were actually very good to me the time I was actually there. But yeah, man. So I started the job hunt right before this whole coronavirus shit took off, and then this happened. So basically, my job hunting had to be put on hold, because, I mean, no area is going to be doing interviews, because practically every non-essential business is closed. So that's why I'm going to try to apply for somewhere, something simple to keep, keep the drive and ambition going, and then put a little money in my pocket. It's that way I can be ready to hit the ground running when this whole quarantine shit is over, and get me a nice job to where I can stay and make some good money and get my life back on track. Because, like I said, this year has not been the best for me, situation mentally and financially. But I mean, thankfully, I would say that I'm in a position now where I'm, better taking this shit on. So we just gonna see, man. I don't know. Honestly, I'm just trying to think of ways to keep myself from not going stir crazy. Which is why we're back in again with another log. Number three. Actually, this has actually gotten really easier to do. I remember the first time I did the first log, I did it like 3 times, because I felt like I didn't really know what to say. But at the end of the day, I just realized, this is my log. Just, me stuck in self-quarantine, and just a way for me to kind of let out all these thoughts and things that I have that usually I would save for, let's say, friends or people out in the world. But unfortunately, everybody's, cooped up in their houses. So for the moment, I at least have my mic and my webcam, which is why I will be continuing to log as long as this fucking quarantine is going on. Maybe you might see the decline of my sanity. Maybe you might, somehow build a somewhat relationship by watching my videos, because I tend to try to be very down to earth during these logs. I don't really do the whole oh, let me put on an act. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty fucking, I'm not one to take myself too seriously, but also sometimes, you got to really, hunker down and really get to the basis of your thoughts and your state of mind. Because so many people, especially nowadays, I'm seeing that people just tend to to air out a lot of thoughts, especially on things like social media or the internet, and they're letting people know these things about them and the way they think and they go about life. But in reality, I don't know, for me, I can kind of really see that there's a lot of hiding behind this persona that they created for themselves online. I feel like in this age of, social media and the internet and stuff like that, it's easy to kind of build a separate identity to who you really are online, which is why I feel like maybe, this quarantine isn't necessarily a bad thing, I guess. Don't get me wrong, it's fucking horrible. But in terms of looking at this half glass full, we got to look at sometimes the things that maybe this self-quarantine can teach us, and maybe this can help us teach us to really find out who we are, so therefore we don't have to continue to try to be this person that we are online and stuff like that. So maybe we can take ourselves a little less seriously and just learn to appreciate ourselves and appreciate the people that we interact with on a daily basis, and hopefully make us more social. I feel like funny enough, ironically, in this age of social media, we've gotten so much less social, to where people are just hey, do you have mutual friends and followers in order for me to have any type of contact with you? And if you don't, then get out of my way, buddy. And that to me has always been so weird. It's just to me, I'm never really one to be weirded out by people making random conversations with me. If someone were to make random conversations with me on the streets or anything like that too, I have no problem engaging. And if anything, I like to engage in these types of things, because building that type of relationship lets me know that element of human interaction is still alive and well. One prime example, actually, now that I'm having the ability to talk about this, was this guy I met when I was getting my replacement license. I went to the Hawthorne DMV, and this guy just started randomly talking. At first it was just typical, little small talk about the lines and about the way and about how things are getting crazy and, stuff like that. Because this was back in late January, late February. And so at first we started doing typical small talk, but then he started asking me where I was from, and then from there we just started talking. And I can honestly say, at the end of the day, I hope I built somewhat of a small friendship with the guy, because like by the end of it, we were talking like if we were like pals for at least a cool couple months, like, you know, because we're just talking about the areas we lived in, the things we like. We had like mutual likings and interests and things like that too, and we would have never really known that had it not been for that little, you know, that first little spark of conversation and interaction with someone. And he actually took down my number, which I hope I didn't take down his, which is kind of dumb, but he took down mine. So hopefully, maybe he might hit me up one day out of the blue. But no, like things like that to me were like that kind of. First of all, that made my experience at the fucking DMV a whole lot better, because who the fuck wants to be at the goddamn fucking DMV, especially after leaving work? Forget about it. So that, yeah, so that was a pretty good way of like making my DMV experience a whole lot better, and also just letting me know that that type of human interaction is still alive and well. And I hope that's one thing that really resurges once this quarantine is over. It's just people's ability to talk about it, because think about it, now we actually have something that we all have in common now, is we were all quarantined. Like that, I can guarantee you, like you can walk into a bar or any fucking little, you know, hangout place and just interact with someone and be like, hey, so how did you spend your quarantine? You know, were you going crazy? Were you this? Were you that? So I guess you could say, and this is why I say this episode's a bit more on the positive tip, we should start trying to look towards the more optimistic side of what we can gain from this self quarantine, because trust me, if you don't, you're gonna go fucking crazy. But thankfully, I feel like that to me is what's helping me keep sane, because, you know, 2 logs ago when I first started this, you know, I was in that borderline of going crazy, which is why I did the logs in the first place. But now I can honestly say that, like, being able to just, I don't know, man, just being alone with my thoughts, trying to look at the positive, you know, ultimately, if you keep digging hard enough, you'll find something. And that's actually a good thing for me too, because I've always been such a negative oriented person in my thoughts. I used to always Murphy law everything, man. Like anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So at first I thought the worst of this quarantine, but now that we're pretty much in the thick of it, we're getting news that apparently this will start to end around mid-April, this whole self-quarantine, and then the school's coming back in May, and then now with this, you know, this recovery plan from the Senate, like, you know, I guess you could say the needle's moving a little more towards the positive side. And I think we're going to start to slowly start to get to, like, you know, the phase where we can finally come out of this. I mean, we're not out of the woods just yet. A lot of people are still getting infected left and right, but I feel like us staying home, continuing this self quarantine, making sure that we're not going too stir crazy, you know, I feel like that'll help us, you know, get there. And also, I'm not really seeing a lot of like stories now about people panic buying anymore, which is really good, because the last thing you want is to be, you know, like flooding, like, you know, to the markets and just like taking everything out and making our fucking markets look like they're fresh out of Venezuela and shit. Like, no, dude, come on. Like, we need to do better, and thankfully I think it's starting to look like we're doing a bit better. I mean, my parents went to the grocery store like I think a day ago, and it wasn't that much of a hassle. So I'm hopefully, you know, people are starting to, like, I guess, calm down and adapt to the nature of the situation. But yeah, man, quarantine is alive and well. We're living in the thick of it. Social media is still blowing up with a lot of memes, a lot of tweets, a lot of posts, a lot of grams of people just talking about their plans after the quarantine. And it's just like, man, I wonder when they're gonna make the coronavirus movie. Like, I know for a fact, like, that's inevitable given the nature of how we're treating this. Like, because it feels like such a pandemic. When you really like break down the tweets, it sounds like we're in a fucking war. It's like, man, I swear, when this is all over, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take my gal to the soda pop shop and we're gonna split a nice milkshake. Like, it's fucking weird, dude. Like, it's fucking weird. Like, the amount of like pre-PTSD that this is gonna have for people. Like, I feel like we're never gonna be able to hear the word corona again without fucking having a spaz attack. I'm surprised if I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if the Corona Beer Company changes their fucking name, or just be like, you know what, hey, for a couple months let's call it something else. You know, Corona is Spanish for crown, so let's just call it Crown Cerveza for right now, you know, before we start fucking freaking people out and making people remember a time that they don't want to really remember. But I mean, we will look back at this, but I feel like we'll look back at this both in how crazy it was, but also laugh about the fact that we really had to be fucking locked in our own goddamn houses for months on fucking end, man. And I feel like this is especially crazy for us because, you know, the people growing up around my age, people in my generation, we never really experienced like this type of this pandemic, man, this epidemic that's going on in society. I mean, people like the baby boomers had to grow up in that time of like the Cold War and like, fearing for their life that they're gonna get fucking nuked by Russia. And, the whole fucking people during the World War II era had to go, worry about if freaking the Japanese were gonna come and like bomb somewhere else because they already bombed Pearl Harbor. Like, like for us, this is kind of like our epidemic that we're gonna be telling our grandchildren whenever they ask us about, how was 2020, how was the 20s, the 2020s, and it's just gonna be like, sit the fuck down and let me fucking go into detail about how fucked we were. But I mean, like, feel like this is just the nature and the circle of life, man. Inevitably this stuff has to happen. It sucks, but it's like, if you honestly look at our history as like human species, you see like there's like, it's a cycle to this shit. There's a period of calmness, but then all of a sudden this happens and then that happens, and usually lately for a lot of people, especially in this country, it's been like wars or this or that. For us, it's like a fucking virus. Like last time we've heard of a virus epidemic, I think it was like, that was like to this extent. I feel like maybe it was like the Spanish flu. I think, I'm not like a big historian buff, so you can go ahead and correct me on this, but it's like, because people could be like, oh, what about H1N1 and the Ebola thing? And yeah, it was bad, but it never got to the point where like we were literally shutting down businesses and people had to stay quarantined in their house. So I feel like as long as we all just stick together, stay sane enough, because I know that's very difficult in these trying times, then everything will be okay, man. Just, I guess, I don't know. And I feel like we need to, and I'm starting to do this myself too, is just kind of enjoy the time you have in your house. Granted, it might be boring. You might run out of things to do, but at the end of the day, talk to your family, man. Do things now that you didn't have the time to do previously. Like, now you have the time to do anything, man. I talked about this earlier. I know I did. But it's like, I heard a podcast today, and it actually had a good point to it. They said like, bro, like, now's the time to do like the most craziest things you could ever fucking do. Because last time I was like, oh, write a poem or tap into your creative side. But no, dude, like, fucking shave your fucking head, dude. Like, fucking go stir crazy. Like, walk around in fucking women's clothing if you fucking want to. Who's gonna fucking stop you, man? You're locked up in your own goddamn house, dude. Do what you fucking please, man. In these times, do whatever absolutely you feel is necessary for you to be comfortable and for you to not go fucking crazy in your own household. Like today, it was pretty good, man. Made me some fire ass mac and cheese. Saw Tom Segura's new comedy stand-up special on Netflix. You should check that out too. Ball Hog. It's really fucking good. Fucking hilarious. A lot of people need to start appreciating stand-up, man. Stand-up's really fucking good. I talked to a couple people. They're like, yeah, like a couple here, like a couple there. But honestly, if you like, I don't know, like for me, like watching stand-up, it really shows, like, I guess to me, like the bright side of humanity in a sense, because it's like you have these people. First of all, you admire their creativity of being able to be humorous and find a lot of things humorous in life in general, but also you realize that like maybe the world doesn't have to be taken too seriously. Granted, I know we got a bunch of like PC people who are just like, I'm offended about this and I'm offended about that, but it's just like, it's a fucking joke, man. Like, I feel like whenever things get tough and our backs are against the wall, man, I feel like cracking a couple jokes here and there honestly wouldn't be the worst thing to fucking do in these times. I certainly am always trying to look at the funny side of everything, to kind of really relieve that tension of like the situation, myself, and just the world in general. So learn to laugh, man. Learn to laugh. Watch a couple comedy specials, watch a couple funny movies, crack a couple jokes with your family, do some funny, silly stuff, except for TikTok. I know people are like, well, what if I want to fucking TikTok? I know, because I've gotten crap about that, and I know I was pretty tamed about the whole TikTok thing last time, but I'm still seeing it on my fucking feed and still getting fucking annoying. But I feel like I was, the reason why I didn't go too hard into it because I thought, like, I didn't want to push people's buttons the wrong way, but then I realized, like, yo, this is my fucking log. I can say whatever the fuck I want. So yeah, dude, TikTok trash ass app, dude. TikTok is trash, mainly because it's really cringe, man. It makes you do shit that you normally wouldn't fucking do. And trust me, if you look hard, like, you need not look hard enough. You don't have to look hard enough. Trust me, if you just look and stay on TikTok for a cool like 10-15 minutes, you could probably find some fucking major fucking cringe on TikTok, dude. And people are like, oh yeah, but there's funny stuff. But trust me when I tell you, the cringe hella outweighs the fucking funny, man. I'm sorry, it really fucking does, man. It's like, I don't know, like the shit people post on TikTok that's just so cringe. It's like, is there no self-awareness on this app? Do you not like see what you're about to post and be like, you know what? Maybe I'm not gonna do that. I mean, you know, A+ for being bold as fuck, because I mean, especially in this generation where like people take like 10,000 pictures and they pick one out of the 10,000 for them to post. You know, it seems like these people just record and they're just like, fuck it, post it. It's up for the world to see. And it's just like, I don't know, man. If you want to do yourself a fucking favor, or actually not do yourself a favor, but kind of want to get to my level of understanding why I don't fuck with TikTok like that, just YouTube like TikTok cringe compilations. Trust me, there's a boatload to the point where there's like one new one every fucking week, and it's just like, man, these are the people we share a planet with, yo. I know I'm talking mad shit, and who am I to talk this shit to? I mean, I'm just some fucking dude talking into a fucking mic into a fucking cheap webcam. But at the end of the fucking day, man, it's like, I don't know. I don't think this itself is too cringe compared to the things that, I don't know, man. It's just look for yourself, man. Trust me, look for it in yourself, because trust me, you will find cringe on TikTok. You find cringe on TikTok, and you'd find just the most toxic shit on Twitter. There, see. Little fucking, I was extending an olive branch there. I laid off a TikTok real quick and then threw a quick jab at Twitter, because yeah, Twitter itself too is just, oh my god, dude. Like, listen, I don't want to be a fucking square, and I don't really want to tell people what to do, but it's just like, bro, like this, like if just like 10, like 5, not even 10, because I'm telling you, like 10-15 minutes on TikTok to find cringe, less than 5 fucking minutes to find something. Just fucking just on Twitter to where it's just like, why would you post that? Why would you retweet that? Why would you post that? Like it makes me walk out like it makes me feel like I'm a fucking Mormon. It's like, where is the Lord in all of this, dude? Because there's like so much sexual stuff, and not even like the sexual to where like, oh, it's, you know, like the leave stuff to no, there's like, you scroll on Twitter, you could probably find a dick or two, dude. And then people are like saying the most like randomest fucking shit. Like, I think like one of the weirdest fucking things I saw on Twitter that like made me dead ass just like turn off the app and be like, you know what, that's enough social media for the day. This one chick dead ass tweeted, I thought finally having sex would cure my sexual frustration, but it just made it worse. Now I'm walking through campus thinking, why isn't there a dick inside of me? And I was like, at first I hit the phone, I was just like, and it's just like, where's your mother? Your mother had you in her fucking stomach for 9 goddamn months, went through excruciating pains to push you out, for you to grow up to get this state of mind to where you thought that was it, chief. That was the tweet that was going to get you the retweets and the likes. Like, listen, like, I'm all for freedom of speech because, you know, libertarian, but it's just like, that don't mean that you're fucking clear from criticism, because it's just like, what the fuck, man? And it's just like, and so many people too have been like, well, that's just Twitter. It's like, that doesn't justify the fuckery that's happening on Twitter, dude. The fuckery is fucking real, dude. It's like, does nobody have any shame anymore, dude? Like I said, I'm sounding like such a fucking Mormon, you know, being like, where's the Lord in all of this? But it's just like, religion and all this other shit aside, dude, it's like, come on, dude. Like what the fuck? You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, this also could be a result of how Twitter used to be. Because I remember so many people were talking, oh wow, look at this. See on this log, I'm putting pieces of puzzles together. How do we get from, early Twitter to current crazy Twitter? And I think a good portion of that probably has to do with the fact of like where we kind of like started when it came to Twitter. Remember, the whole running joke behind Twitter was people just posting the randomest shit to where of stuff that they don't care. It's like, oh, woke up, ate cereal, took a dump, got showered, got changed, gonna go to work, gonna go do this, gonna do like simple mundane shit to where people are just like, bro, who gives a fuck? Nobody cares, dude. Nobody cares. So I guess maybe the whole Twitter community kind of got pushed into being like, well, you know what? Fine. You don't want to know what we're doing. You don't want to be posted on our posted. You don't want to stay posted on our lives. Then fine, we'll give you something. We'll give you what the fuck you want. We'll give you what you want. We'll crank that shit up to fucking 11. And now we got current day Twitter. And it's just like, man. Like if Twitter decides to just be like, you know what, we're gonna polish off, our app and really, see what people are posting. I guarantee that app will shut down in a fucking minute. Like Twitter, I guess, honestly, just doesn't give a fuck about what people see and people post. It's just like, hey, man, this app started with just you posting about how you ate your fucking cereal for breakfast in the morning. You're the ones that got it to this place, man. It's all you, and you got nobody to blame but yourself. That's why Twitter's just the Twitter's heads are just standing back and being like, you do you, queen. So yeah, especially now with the quarantine stuff, forget about it. That just ramped it up to a whole nother fucking degree, man. But I don't know, man. Just, I guess, one thing maybe to take away from this log is TikTok has mad cringe and Twitter needs to fucking chill. Like, just chill, dog. It's like, are you not an interesting individual to where you can come up with better stuff that's not just lazy? Because this also is lazy too. For you to get like attention online, it's easy to just post raunchy, sexual, unnecessary, or toxic, crazy shit for you to just be like, hey, look, give me the retweets, give me the likes. Let's get creative, man. We're in the fucking age of memes, bro. Come on, just step your meme game up. You need to be, retweeting, pictures of fucking cock slapping fucking vag. You need, just come up with funny fucking memes, man. I'm sure you'll find something, like look at Facebook. Like Facebook, from what I'm hearing, apparently Facebook is fucking dead. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like I still go on Facebook, and to me it seems pretty alive and well, man. And what's keeping it alive and well, and what's keeping the blood flowing on an app that people thought was basically on life support, especially with Mark Zuckerberg out here doing the whole lizard security fucking, information hacker man he is. The people that are keeping it alive are the memers, dude. Like, you could scroll through your fucking Facebook, you see a gang of memes, even to the point where people aren't even having to use pictures. Just the posts themselves are like memes, the quotes and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. Come on, fucking Twitter. Take a little fucking, take a little advice, take a little hint from fucking Facebook. You don't need to be this crazy, toxic, weird, psycho app where people are posting just the randomest, raunchiest fucking things for you to get your little clout, man. You can achieve your clout by more honorable memes, man. Way more honorable fucking memes. But hey, man, only time will tell where all these apps will end up in, man, because the world, it keeps on spinning, man. And I guess with that, I'll leave you to it because now I'm getting close to the 30-minute mark. So see, we're going up like every 5 fucking minutes in this new fucking line. Before you know it, I'll have a fucking hour log. But hey, that just shows how comfortable I am with you fuckers watching out there. So if you're watching, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, all that shit. And if you don't, that's cool, because people are just like, hey, man, your last video only got like a couple of views. I'm like, I honestly don't give a fuck. I'm surprised more than myself is watching these fucking videos. I just put it on my social and be like, hey, man, you want to check it out? Check it out. So if you have been checking it out, appreciate you. If you've been sharing it with your friends, appreciate you. If you subscribed, which I don't think none of you have because I have like no subscribers, which is fine. Because to me, that doesn't fill my veins with blood, man. Just you do you, son. There's a lot of people that I watch that I don't even subscribe to. Yeah, I'm one of those cunts, but hey, I do what I can. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, just like everything in these logs, about absolutely fucking nothing except things that apparently come to my fucking mind. And that's exactly what you're watching, and that's exactly what you just watched. So yeah. Corona quarantine log number 3, day number. Who gives a fuck on the quarantine law? We out. Stay woke. Stay clean.